Thank you, Team Tequila, and it's always a pleasure. But it's always a risky part of talking after Santosh and Rahul. Right? They set the energy so high, so it's always your bar is always very high. So today I'm going to talk about a favorite topic, test automation. Right? AI, all the experts have spoken about, but let's talk beyond AI. Right? I mean, you use AI or do not use AI, but from a test automation perspective, what are some of the challenges that we have as of today, right? It's everyone's favorite topic. The trap, right? The automation trap. The biggest challenges that we have, when automation starts, we end up writing too many tests, right? We try to solve everything through automation. We create huge suites, we create a lot of capabilities, functionalities of your automation suite. it is it becomes difficult to maintain it, and that automatically increase the cost, right? The second is running so many tests, right? It slows down. You really don't know is how much is good enough for me to certify something can go to production, right? If there are failures, you end up troubleshooting a lot of those failures, and many times we have seen we don't end up doing, if we're running the test suite 10 times in a day, we don't do triaging, right? So that we don't know whether it's a real issue, it's a script issue, it's an environment issue, it's a data issue, or it's a production, or it's a feature issue, right? So we want to make sure that we don't fall into this trap. What we should do, right? Building a user-centric foundation for our automation, right? Focusing on the real-world needs, right? Follow the test pyramid. That's like God for us, right? Uh, you need to ensure that have a right strategy of what you need to automate at what level. Focus more on getting the workflows automated, right? And get it till the end when it comes to the UI end-to-end test, right? Of course, testing the individual part with the help of AI, developers are doing it much better, right? Using the mocks, using all the integration patterns and all of them. So your focus as an automation should be more around end to end, right? Um, Use the real customer data. That's very critical, right? I have seen in multiple places, I've experienced myself in various jobs that I've played. Many of the issues that we find in production, oh, I did not have the right test data. One of the example was we were trying to pay a supplier. We tested everything with all the suppliers with ABC, XYZ, and all the different combinations. But it was a European customer, European supplier name, which had some special characters which we did not have. We would have taken a production data, sampled it, and used use those segments as our test data. But that did not work, and it failed on the first deployment, right? And having a production parity, right, is very critical. um, you might do testing on the environments 100 times, but if your environment is not having the same configuration what production has, then you are in trouble, right? Because everything will work fine on this environment, but it will go and fail in production, right? So all the feature flags, all the configurations that you have, you need to have the same infrastructure available to you in your testing environment. And if it's not there, ask for it. Make sure that as a test engineer, you review the configs which are set for QA, dev, staging, and production, and make sure that ask the right question. Make sure the same set of services, the way it is deployed in production, it is deployed in the test environment. Same set of components using the gateways, the load balancer, and all of them. You may not get the same scale, but it could be a scaled down version, but you need to have a similar infrastructure available there, right? Services plays very critical role, right? So in a distributed system, services is very, very critical to test individually. If there's a change in one service, you don't want to do your end-to-end testing by testing all the 50 services, right? So contract testing plays a very critical role here. So you need to minimize that a single line of code can go to production quickly, easily, and with a good quality, right? So you need to identify the ways. You need to have the right environments and observability to trace your sequence of the execution that you have done is touching which all areas, and you have the right confidence, right? And use of ephemeral environments, and ask for it. Now it's much more easier to look at the dependencies, look at the changes which are happening, for you to identify which all services will have an impact, who is the producer, who is the consumer, and you should be able to trace that easily with the help of AI, with so many tools available. Score.dev can give you the environment which is locally can map it to the way it is done in production. Right. Now, when it comes to designing for sustainability, right, from an automation perspective, what are the things that you need to take care of? Your test data, right? Um, Very critical. You need to have, you have done automation, but you end up spending good amount of time in managing your test data, right? It's not. Your test data should be easily creatable. You should have all your static data, all your metadata available to you, and the transactional data, you should have the scripts to create the transactional data. And it should be such a way, with the help of a lot of things on the AI which people talked about, you can find the traceability of a single a call to the service, which all database it goes, reads, updates. So you should be able to trace your data needs based on the traceability of the request, right? Modular design, of course, you don't want to change 10 different scripts when there is a change in the UI element, right? So you need to make sure that your automation is much more modular, so that you can extend it, run it on any environment, any configuration, and it can sustain on its own, right? And environment stability we talked about, right? You need to have a consistent environment where your changes and whatever is in production, so that you can easily, quickly certify that part, right? Um, yeah, don't run. Sorry, I keep changing here. Yeah, stop running everything all the time, right? So it is cost, it is not going to help you with the cost, right? So what are the things that you should do, right? Look at the impact analysis, right? What test has impacted which functionality and what code, right? And create a workload based on what are the things that you need to test. Then prioritize your workflows, right? Make sure that you utilizing your production insights very well. Understand which all platforms that you want to run your test against, on mobile or web browser, which all combination which will give you more confidence, right? And then use a production guided testing, right? Use the real data patterns, use the mostly hit workflows, organize your test in a structure that mirrors the business priorities rather than the technical modules, right? That is the key, right? Without look at the high traffic workflows, whatever your business and the product team tells you, you also need to validate by looking at your production insights, right? um, Another important part that we do not spend enough time is unified reporting. You need to have a single portal where you're running different uh, automation frameworks at different levels. API, you're using Karate, Rest Assured. For UI, you're using Playwright or Selenium. For mobile, you're using APM or Maestro or whatever, right? Everyone has a different runner, but at a single place, I should be able to answer on this build, what are the tests that I executed? it, do I get a confidence that it is going to work in production as we expect it to work in production, right? So you need to have a single place where you should be able to take a decision. You need to have a release confidence that, did I do enough testing, right? Is that enough for me? You should be able to easily do a root cause
Hi,
analysis,
Nikhil.
right?
Sorry to interrupt. You have 1 minute left. Sorry
Sure.
about that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so visual reporting, and you should not be able to look at a lot of logs. With the help of AI, you should be able to really create meaningful information out of those logs, which is going to help you to troubleshoot and visually give you the where the actual issue happened, right? So you need to look at all this aspect and make a single unified reporting framework. Today, if I ask someone what is the status of your test cycle, the answer that I get is, I'm 50% done. That 50% done is more from an execution cycle perspective, not a confidence level. So I need to know, with the help of all this together, we should know what's my confidence level. Of course, I executed 50% of test, but what's my confidence level based on the impact analysis, based on the test that I selected? My confidence level is high up to 80%, right? So those are the answers that we should have. And this would be my last slide. Same thing that we talked about, key takeaways: use the impact analysis, customer centric filtering, use sustainable automation, and decision making based on the reporting, right? So that's it from my end. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any of the questions you might have. And thank you, Team Tequila, for making it such a smooth and wonderful event. Thank you.